Thank you, Bill, and good morning. My perspective on this issue is that of someone who's been involved in the problem of global climate change for more than 25 years. I've been a research scientist. I've been an advisor to senior policymakers, and I've represented my country, the United States, in international climate negotiations. And through that range of experience, I've been exposed really to every aspect of the problem of global climate change. And there's none, I think, that's more serious or more urgent or more underappreciated than what we're talking about right here. And by that I mean the global consequences of climate change in the Arctic. And I'm going to focus on one important element of that, which is the melting of the Greenland ice sheet. And the first thing you should know is that this melting is happening. And we know this very well now because for the last 15 years or so, we have had satellite-based measurements, good satellite-based measurements of the mass of the Greenland ice sheet. What you can see from this slide is the ice sheet is losing mass, and it's losing mass at a rate that appears to be accelerating. This melting process is self-reinforcing. And there's a couple different physical mechanisms which make it self-reinforcing. One of these is that shown on the left, which is that as the surface of the ice sheet melts and refreezes, it becomes a little bit darker, and therefore it absorbs a little more sunlight. The other mechanism by which this melting is self-reinforcing is that simply as the ice sheet melts, as the elevation of the surface decreases, it is exposed to warmer air. So for these reasons, and because, of course, the Arctic is continuing to warm, there's a danger that we will commit, and commit very soon, to the ultimate complete melting of the ice sheet. So we may be close to the threshold where this process becomes unstoppable. We don't know exactly where that threshold is. So we look at it probabilistically, and what this slide illustrates is that if we were to limit warming to 1.5 degrees instead of 2 degrees, we think that the probability of making the commitment to the complete melting of the ice sheet would be substantially reduced if we were able to meet a more stringent global policy goal. If we don't, the consequences are severe. This would literally alter the landscape. And what I'm talking about is 6 meters on average of global sea level rise. The consequences of that would be far-reaching and global. I'm illustrating here just one part of the Earth, which is Florida. This makes the point that 6 meters of sea level rise inundates many, many major coastal cities. So the problem is urgent, the stakes are high, and the policy measures that are in place now are nowhere near commensurate to the scale of the threat. And I want to leave you with this thought, and this is a quotation from a paper that was published earlier this year in the journal Nature, which, as you know, is a scientific journal, and the language in this here is extraordinary for a scientific publication. It says, "Decisions being made today will have profound and permanent consequences for future generations as well as for the planet. The next few decades offer a brief window of opportunity to minimize large-scale and potentially catastrophic climate change that will extend longer than the entire history of human civilization thus far." Thank you.